was about to say the same thing.
They did it better
for like 5 episodes. They did a better version of the Dark Phoenix saga in 5 episodes. Fox did it twice and didn't get it right.
I just thought about it. They did it twice and didn't get it right. Hell, the Umbrella Academy did the Dark Phoenix saga better than Fox did. What's up, Internet World? We're the News 19 Nerds. I'm Leroy.
I'm Michael.
I kind of wanted to forget about this, but Michael said we had to do it.
Well, much like the movie, our review kept getting delayed, and now we're hopefully finally going to do it.
And we just released it because we had to.
Just had to. we had to get the franchise back.
Kind of like the X-Men movie Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, we had to give the franchise back to the rightful owners, and then, yeah, so here we go. Here's our review.
When we first tried to do it, I was kind of like, meh. Mm-hmm. And the more I think about it, the more mad I get.
Because of the wasted potential?
Just the waste of the franchise.
Okay.
Because when I first saw it, I thought it was... We're not doing spoilers, but I thought it looked great. I think it was... One, it's the most expensive X-Men movie. It is the best looking X-Men movie. And it is the... Out of all the actors that they've had... This is the best cast with the worst performances.
Okay.
You have Jessica Chastain,
mm-hmm.
Jennifer Lawrence,
mm-hmm.
Ty Sheridan, Nicholas Hoult, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
I'm missing somebody. Sophie Turner.
Yeah.
I mean,
the star.
You literally have the best cast of any X-Men movie, I would say, in my opinion. And it just is. It just exists.
Yeah.
And
my take on it is, I don't hate it, but it definitely is just a meh movie, and I don't know if we've had such low expectations for other X-Men movies mm-hmm. that maybe meh is as good as we're gonna get. Not counting Logan, because Logan is the outlier of that was just a great movie.
To me, the Logan movies and the Deadpool movies don't necessarily classify as X-Men movies to me, almost. They're almost like you have the Avenger movies, and then everybody has their single mm-hmm. trilogy movies. Uh-huh. So I almost feel like those movies they're incorporated in this franchise, but they're not X-Men movies. I feel like Dark Phoenix is the worst, right up there with Last Stand, one of the worst X-Men movies of all time, only because you came off of Apocalypse and you knew you were ending, and this was the best you could do. And that's kind of how I feel like. Like, this is
maybe Simon Kinberg don't need to be touching the X-Men franchise. I don't know him as a person.
I don't know him as a person, but I'll be honest with you.
Maybe he don't need to touch his franchise.
Every time I see his name mentioned, I just get so upset. I do, and this is the thing. Let's do a little bit of history. A lot of people don't realize this. Bryan Singer, who was the original person who directed some of the first 2 X-Men movies, I believe, Simon Kinberg was always a part. Like a producer. So whenever Bryan Singer, if you guys don't know who he is and what he's been accused of, go check this out. Go on the internet, Google. He would disappear on sets. Kinberg would step in and kind of like shepherd the movie along mm-hmm. whenever he would go on these sabbaticals.
Okay. And
not show up to work. So I almost feel like Kinberg, it's almost like, here at work, we're never properly trained at something. You just kind of get thrown into it, mm-hmm. and you just muddle along. I kind of feel like that's how Kinberg did. And I feel like he needed help, and he wrote this movie and directed it. And part of the problem with it is, sometimes when people are given too much, they fail, they fold under the weight and the pressure.
Okay.
And I feel like, based on what happened with The Last Stand, he should not have been allowed to write this movie. And
here's the thing, I agree, mm-hmm. but I feel like Fox, sometimes studios are just run, mm-hmm. Like your management is kind of like, they are not really invested, and you hate to compare, but you have to, because superheroes, like Kevin Feige is a fan. He loves the material. Even before he became the head honcho at MCU, or Marvel Studios, he was a producer on like the Fantastic Four movies, and he was like associate producer in some of the X-Men movies. He was on set for that stuff, and it always, from interviews, it always seemed like he was always upset with how they were doing, but he couldn't do anything because he was in charge.
Now he's in
charge.
charge.
He was always in charge, and now that he's in charge, he has the power to shape it as he will, and it's a success. I feel like the people at Fox, they weren't really fans so much as just, this is a quick franchise, let's spend some money, we can make money because of superheroes.
The thing about this franchise, and we'll get back to the movie, because to me all of this sets up the movie. All of these things we're talking about sets up the movie. Goes back to Bryan Singer in the beginning. And the difference between how Singer approached the X-Men movies and how Kevin Feige and their directors approach the current line of MCU movies. Bryan Singer, when he first directed the X-Men, remember this is coming during the time The Matrix is big. Black Leather is in. He said, and if you go back and watch, I'm not making this up, go back and watch the director's cut of the movie and the director's commentary, and he says, the costumes are not important. The costumes will never be in my movies. Now I'm paraphrasing, but that goes back to what you're saying. He did not understand the source material and why the costumes of the X-Men are unique and they're personal to each individual member. And I think that shows you the difference between the movies and the franchises. And just to give you a little bit of history, before we started doing this, I totaled up. We know Iron Man came out 2009.
2008.
2008, 2009. That year right there brought us basically kicked off the modern superhero movement we see now. The Dark Knight and Iron Man. In the same time period, this is the X-Men
Same time period of what? 2008 till now?
Yep.
Okay.
Now we know what happened with the MCU. We know what happened with DC. To mitigating, you can argue that they have their highs and lows. We already know what movies, but let's look at the X-Men franchise from 2009 with X-Men Origins Wolverine, where they tried to basically shoehorn Wolverine into everything and shepherd the franchise. X-Men Origins Wolverine, 2009. First Class came out in 2011. The Wolverine, 2013. X-Men...
Hey, you know what? I have fun with the Wolverine.
The Wolverine sucked.
You suck.
I probably do. X-Men Days of Future Past, 2014. X-Men Apocalypse, 2016. Deadpool, 2016. Logan, 2017. Deadpool 2, 2018. Dark Phoenix, 2019. New Mutants, to be determined. And we also know that Dark Phoenix was supposed to come out when? Last year. So how many movies is that?
I don't know, is that 10?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 if you don't include New Mutants.
I'm including New Mutants. I believe in it.
So 10 movies in 10 years.
Yeah. That's a good run, man. A movie a year? You know how much it takes them to get a movie made?
In this same amount of time period.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Warner Brothers has made the same amount of movies.
Have they?
Think about it. Think about the Dark Knight movies. That's 3. Man of Steel. 4.
No. Because when did the Dark Knight come out?
Okay, the Dark Knight 2008, 2009.
All right, so you can't count Batman Begins because that was.
I'm not counting it. I'm saying Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
Suicide Squad.
Right.
Man of Steel.
Okay.
Batman vs Superman.
Okay.
Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Justice League.
Shazam. Yeah.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
And I'm missing one. What's the other one I'm missing?
I don't know.
That's 9.
That's 9.
That's 9. In the same. That's what I'm saying. In the same. Because if you're including New Mutants, they have the same amount of movies.
Okay.
That's the X-Men movies.
So what is your point?
My point is that Fox did not understand the characters, didn't know what they were doing. It does not know what they were doing, and they have. I don't want to say they ruined the franchise. They brought some very good movies. I love First Class.
A lot of people like First Class.
I love First Class. These movies right here are the only X-Men. These movies in the franchise I honestly own. These 2, Deadpool 2, First Class, and Logan. That's it. I could do without the rest of the franchise.
So like 4 out of 10. That's not bad, man. Like in baseball, it's like, that's a good average.
This ain't baseball. This movie's.
I don't know. I'm trying to root for him, man. It's not happening.
Don't. And a lot of people are coming up with so many excuses of why the movie did not do well. The movie isn't good.
Yeah, it's one of the lowest performing openings for an X-Men movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, it is the most expensive.
That's wild.
It's $200 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that for a second. It's $200 million, and look at the cast, and it's just. And that's why, and it looked great. I love all the actors involved, but it just was meh, and I did not care for it. And the more I think about it, the more upset I get. The more I realize, like, you don't understand the characters that you have because you did not do a good job with them. You did not develop them, and I'm willing to forgive the original X-Men movie for how bad it is because I got X2, and X2 was decent. I loved Kelsey Grammer. I loved Alan Cummings as Nightcrawler. There were certain things that I liked about it, but I was really hoping for it to grow and build, and then it just
dropped.
And that's what this movie did, and I do not like how they handled any of this. And a lot of people don't understand, the Dark Phoenix in comics is 36 issues. It's told over 4 years. How long was that movie?
Not 4 years. I don't know what it was. What, like both movies, this one and Last Stand, were what, maybe 2 hours or something like that?
And that's the problem that I have with the movie. To me, if you're going to do a 2-hour Dark Phoenix movie, automatically you don't understand the source material. You don't understand what the story was telling.
If there had been more groundwork in previous films to establish these people, I feel like you could kind of do that.
You can.
But they didn't.
You didn't. Right. You went straight for Phoenix.
And the issue is, so all right, let's give our review so we can get into spoilers. I give it 1 star. Woo! Y'all, time has changed. Because when we were gonna do this, you were higher.
I was.
You were higher.
And the more I think about it,
1 star out of what?
I'm trying to think of what could be. I give it 1 full Magneto helmet.
Out of 5.
Out of 5.
Okay. Honestly, I might give it 1.5. Really? I'm not much higher.
I was higher than he when we first tried to do this.
Yeah.
I was definitely higher. We had just seen it, and again, I still think it looks beautiful. But the more I sat and thought about it, the more I was going over, and the more I went back, and I was like, just looking at the movie itself, it's so banal. It's terrible.
Okay.
And that's how I feel about it. And I'm so upset that in 2019, that's the movie they gave us.
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay. I give it 1.5 really bad weaponized dreadlocks out of 5.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
That's 1.5 weaponized dreadlocks out of 5 is what I give it. I don't hate it. I don't love it. But it really is just a meh movie. And at the end of the day, I'm like of 2 minds. I'm like, you know what? This isn't the best somebody could do, but maybe this is the best they could do. And I don't know if we should reward that or not.
No.
I guess the world didn't reward it.
No, and this is why I disagree with that statement. You know why?
Why?
Because this is so we've had, like I said, we've had some decent X-Men movies. We've had some great X-Men movies. And we've had just rest of them in the middle of the road. Hugh Jackman has been the best Wolverine and the worst Wolverine.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
The best Deadpool
And the worst Deadpool. Yeah.
You've had these actors, to me, in the best X-Men film and one of the worst. So it's like they don't do... It's like they can't just be consistent. And that's one thing I will say about some of the Marvel movies. Some of the Marvel movies aren't great. Some of them are just, eh. This wasn't even eh.
Compared to that, yeah,
like don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that every Marvel movie that has come out from the MCU has been awesome. You cannot compare Thor: The Dark World to Captain America: Winter Soldier. They're just not on the same. They're not even in the same.
Dark World is up here. Winter Soldier. No, of course, Winter Soldier is incredible.
We need a drug test.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite MCU movie, Winter Soldier.
You can't compare the cinematics of Doctor Strange, honestly, to Black Panther. Doctor Strange blows Black Panther out of the water when it comes to special effects.
Yeah.
The whole Inception, you know, this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You mention all the time, and I did go back and watch Black Panther. It has some. It's. I mean, it ain't when you look at it compared to Doctor Strange.
Black Panther's a great movie, not a great superhero movie.
But I'm not going there. I'm just going to say
He said it!
I'm saying the special effects. Special effects.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to sit up here and say the MCU is perfect. But they understand the characters. And
they care.
They care. And they've had some missteps.
Right.
And they've learned. I like Captain Marvel. I hate the fight scene at the end of Captain Marvel when they play No Doubt.
No Doubt.
I'm just a girl. I hate it.
It's very on the nose.
I hate it.
And they could have done other...
Yes!
I was just watching something, but they were talking about that. Oh, I was watching Honest Trailers when they talked about the Captain Marvel review, and I agree, they could have played other No Doubt songs.
Like, I hated that song.
Yeah.
And then to put it on that one, and I'm like, you just cheapen. Like, I'm going to buy it, but I'm like, I may just fast forward through that part just to get to...
Yeah.
But I say that, and I bring that up to say, they didn't understand the characters when they made
Fox
this.
didn't understand.
Fox didn't understand the X-Men characters and what made them special, what made them unique. That whole idea of them being superheroes at the beginning of the movie, I thought was just no. The X-Men are never super, even when they do something super heroic, like be first responders and stuff. People still spit on them. People still like. I don't think they got it. I do believe that once they revert back to the MCU, we're going to see a better version of the X-Men. I feel bad for all the actors involved because you don't do this and then put all this time into it not for this to be the way you go out. It's almost like your last game after you've had a stellar career. So I'm
like Jordan after he came back.
Yeah.
Jordan was killing it with the Wizards.
It's almost like how Shaq's career ended. I mean, he just kept going from team to team.
Yeah.
And he kept getting hurt.
Yeah.
And then remember, Kevin Hart had that joke when Shaq falls down. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
It's just.
All right. So.
That's non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler. Spoiler territory. These motions are more for me than for you guys, just so I know how to edit this. But yeah, spoiler alert here.
This movie is trash.
Yeah. Spoilers, this movie sucks. No,
this movie is hot garbage.
So I'm going to ask you in terms of how faithful is it to the comics?
It's not.
Okay.
Well, you can't. In a sense of, so that the alien race that shows up.
So everybody was talking that that was going to be the Shi'ar race. The Shi'ar Empire.
They were supposed to be the Skrulls.
Oh, really?
They were supposed to be the Shi'ar or the Skrulls. And then they didn't. This is the thing that I think in the movie. I think they didn't know what to do. And I think Disney stepped in towards the end, which is why they had to reshoot the entire whole third act. And I think they panicked under pressure and didn't. This should not have been the end story. So the Baha'i or Bahari, whatever race, their planet did get blown up by the Phoenix. The Phoenix Force. In the comics. Okay. That did happen. However, they're not this militaristic, crazy race.
Okay.
You didn't have the Imkron crystal in.
Yeah.
You didn't have the Shi'ar. You didn't have the Fight on the Moon. You didn't have Leandra. You didn't have you didn't have all those things, which honestly would be hard to do. But they didn't even get the core characters right. Like Jean Grey, she gets imbued with the power. And then they had all the pieces there. They didn't connect any of them.
Okay.
Ty Sheridan, I love Ty Sheridan. I loved him in the Boy Scouts Guide to Zombies. I love that movie.
Yeah.
He was not Cyclops in this movie. He just Nicholas Hoult. The one thing I will say they did get right, in my opinion, was I loved their interpretation of Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier's
kind of a jerk.
This is the thing.
Which is interesting.
What a lot of people don't realize, and you go back in the comics, Xavier is a jerk.
Okay.
He is a dick.
Yeah.
And he does stuff like this all the time. Now, he has reasons for it, but Xavier has the problem of, I'm smarter than you. I'm the smartest man in the room, and I'm not necessarily going to prove it to you, but I am the smartest. And he's kind of smug about it. And he always plays the father figure, but behind closed doors, he has done a lot of terrible things.
Okay.
In the sake of advancing mutant race, which is kind of why him and Magneto are so great, because Xavier has this facade of, I am doing this for us, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Magneto's like, all pretenses are off. I don't give a flying F.
Right.
Us against them. Mm-hmm. They didn't get that right. When Jean showed up to his mutant island or whatever, he kicked her out. Magneto would have never done that. Magneto would have fought those men for her.
Okay.
That I do. And this whole he loves Mystique thing, that's not core to his character. You can change characters, you can change motivations, but that is not core. That's not core to his character. And that's where I have a problem with it. I can go on and on about this, but I do not like their interpretation of the Dark Phoenix. Keep in mind, look at the back of that book. How many issues is that?
This is a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I mean, just you could do the count right there. So
244 to 269.
So how many issues is that?
I don't know. Is that 24, 25?
20. Okay, that's 25 issues, right? Yeah. So the Phoenix Saga is a third bigger than that as far as a storyline. Mm-hmm. So the Phoenix Saga itself, you can't tell the Dark Phoenix without doing the Phoenix Saga.
Right.
So Chris Claremont, when he wrote it, he was writing and building and showing you have to show the high.
Because for in order the low to matter, you have to see him on the high. Otherwise, low, you don't see the difference. It's like, why? Who cares?
And they did not do that. You did not show that. Jennifer Lawrence was obviously done with this movie. And this franchise.
She was in this movie for like 20 minutes. Maybe.
She phoned it in Apocalypse, but she really phoned it in this one.
So we're in spoilers. We're probably in non-spoilers. When that first trailer came out, a day later, Simon Kinberg spilled the beans that the funeral that you saw was Mystique.
Yep. No, hold on. Was that when he spilled it a day later, or
it was very soon after? He said it was Mystique.
I know he said that the funeral was for her. The trailer. The other thing that you bring up that you're right to bring up. So the trailer that came out last year.
The first one.
The November one, not the first one. The November one.
Okay. Yeah.
The date. So it had a date, February 14th. Mm-hmm. The very next day, Fox says, "Yeah, we're moving the date."
Yeah.
You like that? To me, that shows you have no idea what you're doing. As a movie franchise, as a studio, you have who knows how long you've had this, and now it's come out that part of the reason why they moved it was to pacify James Cameron.
For Battle Angel Alita and stuff?
Because he didn't want his movie to be released during Christmas time to get smashed by Mortal Engines, Into the Spider-Verse.
Which Mortal Engines wasn't your issue.
No.
In hindsight, Mortal Engines didn't matter.
But, I mean, he didn't want it to get smashed amongst all these other movies, which was smart to move that. But then you move Dark Phoenix, honestly, it should not have been released in the summer. You should have released it towards the end of the fall, beginning of the fall, when nobody was paying attention. Mm-hmm. You reshot the third act, which cost, what I understand, an extra $50 million. It just wasn't good.
Okay. So, you made me lose my train of thought. Oh, so yeah, he talked about Mystique. Mm-hmm. Do you think that helped or hurt the movie?
Oh, it definitely hurt.
You think so?
Oh, definitely.
Because in his mind, he was like, that doesn't really matter. Which seems weird that you would kill a character. Whether or not she is important to the X-Men lore, she is definitely important
to this franchise.
Yes. So it seems weird that you would kill her and say she doesn't matter. That's weird.
I think, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I think that was when you started to see the wheels come off. Because I think one of the things, which I have a problem with from the very first original X-Men movie, changing Mystique from being a shapeshifter who was able to being fully blue, and that whole makeup that Rebecca Romaine Stamos used to put on, that was dumb. To me, it's almost like here at work. Sometimes I think reporters, when they do stories, they do stuff that they think is cool for them, but the audience doesn't care. Mm-hmm. That's what they did with Rebecca Romaine. They were like, we got Rebecca Romaine Stamos, and she's naked, and we get to paint her. Mm-hmm. We don't care. Right. And so when you did that, and then you brought in Jennifer Lawrence, You know how long she had to sit in that chair?
Hours upon hours.
I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna go out there and say it. If I won an Oscar, I'm not sitting in no chair for 14 hours for some crappy franchise that I'm no longer. And you can tell. And I think that what Kimber did was a shot at her when she didn't want to do the movie anymore.
Okay.
I think that honestly was a shot at her when they had to do the reshoots. To me, because there's no way in the world you say Mystique doesn't matter when she has been a core character in the only good movies you've had. And
go ahead, I'll let you finish with it.
First Class, she was a core character in that. And Days of Future Past, you had to stop her.
Yeah.
Because they used her mutant gene. She was the linchpin in all of your movies, even your crappy Age of Apocalypse. And you kill her in a trailer, and then you tell people, and you're like, yeah, she wasn't important. That was petty. That's what that was to me.
And let me rephrase. I don't know that he said that she doesn't matter. I think he said that there were going to be bigger things in the movie based off what happened with this death.
You can't top that.
I don't think there were.
We've seen it. You can't.
I mean, you kind of had Magneto, which, and I guess this
didn't die.
Right, but my thing is, this is a thing with the comics, at least, of Magneto will work with Xavier sometimes and then not work with Xavier.
He has his own agenda.
And it works in the comics, but to me, in movie form, it always seems so weird that from every movie, he starts from not being with the X-Men, then working for a little bit, and not being with them again. And they keep falling into the same pattern over and over, and I don't feel like it works in the movies.
It doesn't work because they don't write him well.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that they don't do a good job of, is writing their characters well. And I think to Magneto is one of those characters to me. Magneto is, a lot of people got mad when they said Magneto is not the same as Killmonger. They are the same. They literally, in a sense of, they are the same character because you agree with a lot of the points that they make. You just don't agree how they got there.
Right.
You don't like what they do to get there.
Like, it partially is like, you could see that being you, but you don't want to admit it.
And
kind of thing.
Not only that, you don't want to admit they're both villains. Think about it. Killmonger's the only villain we've ever seen where the hero agrees with the villain. He just doesn't agree we should blow up the world to get there.
And like, Killmonger kind of got his point across.
He did, and
they did open up the borders.
And this is the thing. It was the same thing his Chadwick Boseman's ex was saying. Nakia was saying, we need to help the rest of the world. That's the same thing Killmonger was saying. Magneto and Xavier, they were friends, and they both...
Well, Killmonger was saying it for people of color, to help them more so than anything. By beating up everybody else.
Well, but
and Nakia was like, we need to help everybody.
She was saying we need to help everybody.
Right.
They were both saying we need to expand our borders.
Right.
We need to open our borders.
Right.
We need to help the rest of the world. We
Right.
have all of this. There's no reason for us to hoard it.
Right.
I say that to say Magneto and Killmonger have the same ideas. They want their people to be okay.
Right.
They just are willing to go and be totally, by all means necessary, excuse me, to get there.
Right.
That's him. And if your ideals line up with mine, I will work with you.
Right.
And they never did a good job of showing Magneto that. But I do believe Fassbender did an awesome job. Like, Days of Future Past is not my favorite movie. I think it's okay. But there's a scene when they're on that plane, when Fassbender gets into it with James McAvoy, and he is livid. And he basically almost crashes that plane yelling at Xavier like, where were you? We were dying. We were getting murdered. And you see that rage, that raw emotion that carried over from First Class. That's Magneto. As he gets older, he gets a little bit more reserved, but Magneto is unbridled rage. He swore that what happened to him during Auschwitz, during the Holocaust, would never happen to him or his people ever again. How is that any different from Killmonger? I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get to my goal, to help my people, and I don't care who I got to go through to get it. I'm willing to kill. Black, white, didn't matter. I'm willing to work with Black White, but at the end of the day, I still have my agenda.
Right.
Magneto, same way. I'm willing to kill mutant, human, I don't care who you are. As long as you're willing to help me, we can work together.
Right.
And I think that is the core character of Magneto. That mutant pride. And that's why I said when he kept saying, whose blood is this? And Magneto, it didn't matter. You're a mutant. Mm-hmm. I'm automatically predisposed to help you because we know she was there because she felt she got cast out from Xavier. Mm-hmm. So Magneto would easily picked up on that. And two, as powerful as she is, he would have definitely kept her just to have a part of his arsenal. Right. So I feel like that motivation, they didn't do that job executing those characters well. And I felt like it was a wasted opportunity. And that's the worst thing. Wasting my time and wasting opportunity.
So, just kind of jumping around because the movie's whatever. You ain't got to go in order. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about... You want to talk about the end? Yeah, whatever. So, we see...
What did you think of the end? Because remember, they changed. Because we talked about this before. Your first 2 acts, they build up to your 3rd act. And then they went back and reshot the entire end.
Yeah, so one thing I think of the whole movie was it definitely felt like different parts of a movie. Mm-hmm. Like the 3rd act definitely felt like it was something else because the first 2 acts weren't really...
leading up to that.
Right, because we didn't get a lot of action, I felt, in the first 2 acts. We got some, but not like this all-out destroying a train car and flipping it around. I was like, oh man, I'm playing Uncharted again. It's great. That's what I thought. I was like, it's Nathan Drake, man, walking through train carts, whatever, going in the Himalayas. But
was it as jarring as a movie as AI was? Because remember, Kubrick directed one part and Spielberg directed another. Was it that jarring?
No, it wasn't. But it definitely felt different just because the pacing seemed off because, like I said, the first 2/3 of this movie, we weren't in that kind of pace to move that fast. They were slow pitching everything for a while. Yeah. And that, I was just like, when is this movie going to pick up? And then I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe it doesn't pick up. Maybe this is just a contemplative look at X-Men and mutants and like, okay, well, at least they were trying something different.
And I'll be honest with you, I like those quiet moments.
It's like, they're trying something different with it. Let's do it. But nah, we gotta blow up everything. So yeah, it was different. Maybe if the whole movie had been like that, it would have been something else. It just felt like 2 different parts.
I would have been interested to see what they had shot before they changed the entire ending. Yeah. Like I would like to have known, this is where I want to see a director's cut. I want to see how different the movie is. Like I don't want to see a few more curse words or I want to see a dramatic different ending.
So you talked about underutilized characters. For me, Jessica Chastain is awesome. I love her in everything she does. She is incredible.
Molly's game.
Yeah, man, this movie, Jessica Chastain, she didn't get to do anything. Nope. And clearly, you could tell she was supposed to be Leandra, right?
Yep.
That's what it was? I mean, for people in the know, it just makes sense that that's a big X-Men character.
I think the thing is, I think they did not know what to do.
Yeah. Because Vu, what's her name? V-U-E or something?
No, V-U-K.
Okay, I don't know her name. They probably said it once or twice.
And then the black guy from the CBS show with the military.
Oh yeah.
Because it's so funny because I like him as an actor. Yeah. Although with the first time I saw him was like a Law and Order episode where he was like a dirty African, like he was like scheming on like in one of the Law and Order episodes, and I'm like, oh man, like you're a good actor. I hate that I see, and then he's gone on to be like not to be the shifty guy. Yeah. But
she didn't really get to do anything. Her motivation.
She did this thing.
She did that. Like, I mean, I guess that's a cool thing, and she twists people around. That's cool stuff. Her motivation was all over the place. Everybody's motivation was all over the place. This movie's kind of whatever. Storm didn't get to do much, and I love Storm being awesome. She wasn't awesome in this movie.
I love Storm, and that is the most underrated, underutilized character in this entire franchise.
Somebody who started talking out of nowhere, Nightcrawler, in the 3rd scene, in the 3rd act. You weren't really talking before, because I guess they were trying to build a rapport between him and the guard who said, "My child loved you." I was like, that kind of came out of nowhere. So when that guard died, I was like, good, you suck.
Damn.
I didn't care about him. They didn't make me care about that guard.
But I didn't care about Nightcrawler. I liked Alan Cup. And this is the thing. The more I think about it, the more I go back and remember X2. And I wasn't a real big fan of X2. Only because I felt like at the end of the movie, they basically threatened the United States. Like, you literally basically gave them a reason to fear you, which to me was the ultimate, you can't do that. Like, we'll be watching. I definitely would be hunting you people down if you showed up in my living room threatening me while I'm watching SpongeBob.
Yeah.
It's like, you're just sitting there in your boxes, just flipping the TV. Oh, wow, Rick and Morty's on. Hey, you know we watching you, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, like that to me is why I don't like X2. It was like all of this great stuff, and then you betray the characters at the end for that scene was just not the X-Men. But Alan Cummings to me did an awesome job as Nightcrawler when he was talking with Storm in X2 about what it was like to grow up and be a circus freak. I like Kelsey Grammer as Beast, the Beast that is logical, who has understood his human and animalistic side. I like that Beast, and these characters did not do any of that.
It just now dawned on me that Lana Connor's Jubilee wasn't in this movie.
Nope.
And they didn't really explain why.
Nope.
Because they felt like they were kind of building her up in other movies past. Lana Condor, I really liked her.
And she looked just like Jubilee.
Yeah, she did.
She was beautiful. Like,
and
she had the jacket, the earrings.
I'm just thinking about her in Deadly Class. She was really good. What's that Netflix movie, To All the Boys I Love? Mm-hmm. That's a fun movie. She's good in it.
She's in it?
Yeah, she's the main girl.
Oh, I did not realize that.
Yeah. But yeah, she's a great actress. She should have been in this movie. Jubilee should have been in this movie.
I will say, whoever has been designing her clothes, and I did not realize that was her. I knew that was her in Deadly Class. I didn't realize that was her in All the Boys I Loved. I thought it was somebody else.
Yeah.
Because she looks so different in all of these roles.
Yeah.
Bravo. Good job, guys.
Quicksilver, again. Nobody knows, and I guess it's a limitation of comics to movies. Quicksilver can do whatever he wants, right? He's so fast, he can do all this stuff. And every movie they find a way to sideline him so that he can't be used in like the final battles, or part of the final battle, like they'll find a way to win. Because like, oh, here comes a cool Quicksilver scene. Yeah, it's gone.
The one thing I don't like about Quicksilver is, is they don't. It's almost like they do all these cool things with him, and it's like they blow the budget on having Quicksilver, and then the rest of the movie is crap. Like Storm's lightning powers, really the guy you talk about, the weaponized
dreadlocks.
Like,
I was like, what is this?
And then Cyclops with the glasses, like he just had the same stupid look on his face. And I just feel like you blow the budget on Quicksilver. And I almost feel like don't even have him if you're not gonna utilize him. And it just was all over the place. And the more I think about it, the more upset I get.
Are there any redeeming parts to it?
Everybody looked great.
Like the overall visual style of it.
The visual style was beautiful. The animation was not great, but I'm saying like characters, like the close-ups, like you saw the part in the trailer when Jean Grey was like trying to rub the blood out when she was behind the building. I thought that was awesome. I thought those shots were good. I thought the close-up shots, even though the acting was a little stilted, I thought Nicholas Hoult and James McAvoy when they were drinking, and Xavier and McAvoy's talking to him, I thought those shots were shot really well. I did think Jennifer Lawrence kind of phoned it in, but she raised some interesting points about we should call it the X-Women instead of the X-Men. And she was like, what do you think that X stands for? I really like those beats. That's the X-Men to me. That fights that they have where they come together and they face this whatever world-ending cataclysmic event. I think it had the potential. I think they don't understand the source material, going back to the comics, to understand if these people are in the real world, what are their motivations? How do you keep... Because again, you can change Tony Stark's origin from Vietnam to the Iraq War. It doesn't change who he is. He's still... Where was that kind of thinking? You can change little things, but you still have to keep it true to the actual characters. I feel like they just didn't do that.
So I got one final point for me. And we talked about it when we were going to do the old review, but it just dawned on me now. You could tell, here's a real, in my opinion, a good example of how this movie fails where the MCU soars in terms of building stuff up. A lot of times, the Dark Phoenix character. She's going bad, she's going good, she doesn't know how to control whatever, and Jean Grey kind of gets a hold of it eventually towards the end of the movie. And the way she does it is she remembers good times that she's had in the past, right? To me, or good times she's had with fellow X-Men to show that she does have a family. She has people that believe in her because she felt like Charles betrayed her at the beginning, whatever, blah, blah, blah. To me, the way that should have been done is over a course of movies that you show the character, the beats of them bonding, and then you flash back to those points in this movie. But all the flashbacks were from the one movie.
The same movie.
I was like, but that's a cop out.
Because again, you gotta remember they just cast Sophie Turner in the last movie.
Last two movies.
She wasn't in Days of Future Past.
Was she not?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know.
She was only in Apocalypse.
Oh, and that's another thing. Now that you brought that up, they don't even stick with their own lore because she showed signs of the Phoenix Force in Days of Apocalypse. That's how she was able to beat Apocalypse. But when this happened,
she was a Deus Ex Machina.
Right. She had some type of Phoenix in her, but now all of a sudden all that was gone, and it comes back in this one. Now you made me angry. Movie gets 0 out of 5.
Now you see why, because that's the thing. Honestly, Days of Future Past, honestly, should have been the end of the franchise. Then do Logan. That's it. Don't do no more. Yeah. You could have won with that. But you brought in Apocalypse.
That would have gone on.
You brought in Apocalypse. You introduced, because remember, Apocalypse is set in the 80s. This is set in 1992. The first X-Men movie is in 2000.
Yeah.
So what happened in 8 years from 92 for Magneto to look like Fassbender to look like Ian McKellen?
Right.
What happened in those 8 years? Yeah. So that's why I said I feel like they didn't even pay attention. They didn't. And I will say this, as much as I trash the movies, I'm appreciative of the movies because at least we got something. It really did. We got something that says, okay, somebody was able to take this and say, I'm not going to do that. So that's great. That's wisdom. This is the most Marvel X-Men franchise ever. Because just like Marvel books, they don't give two flying Fs about timeline and continuity.
They do what they want.
They do what they want. They will introduce a character, forget about him, and then bring him back 30 years later. So that, I think, is hilarious. Again, I try not to trash things. I have a difference of opinion from some people. You like what you like. I remember when Delaney, we did this the trailer review, and Delaney, her excitement was infectious. I really did enjoy.
Dang, I remember that because you were all like, "This movie's gonna be garbage," and then Delaney somehow she infected you, and you were like, "You know what?"
She was like, "I'm a fan." She's like, I appreciate that. And I will say there were times in the movie I did kind of was like, okay, that's not bad. I've kind of laughed. But the more I think about it, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna give you an out because you make me chuckle. But if you like it, you like it. I'm not going to say you shouldn't like it. I like Suicide Squad. I know it's trash. I know it's trash. I love Viola Davis. I love Will Smith. I love Jai Courtney. I think Joel Kinnaman is horrible in that movie, but I still love it. And I know it's horrible.
That girl was talking about BET. How dare you?
That movie is such...
I gotta get my BET. Really?
You had comments say, is that your... And then he got shot in the face. It's literally. It's a trash movie. I know it is. But I still like it. I own it. I feel like this movie is going to be somebody's Suicide Squad. It's going to be just... If they know it's bad, they're going to like it. I'm not going to knock you for it. You like what you like. For me, not just being a fan, because... all of this X-Men stuff that's up here belongs to me, and I have tons more. My wife wants it all gone. I was a bigger X-Men fan, and still kind of a bigger X-Men fan than I was an Avengers fan. It wasn't too long ago, Avengers were nobodies.
And Tony Stark, Tony who?
Yep. It was X-Men.
He was like what, C-list?
He was B
to C, but never A.
Never really A.
Right.
He had great stories, but he was never like the Tony was kind of a joke, especially after he was, because a lot of people don't realize the Demon in the Bottle storyline was supposed to be in Iron Man 2. Mm-hmm. Tony was kind of a joke because he was always recovering alcoholic that nobody really felt like they could rely on.
Okay.
So the X-Men, keep in mind, the X-Men #1 still holds the record as the best-selling comic book of all time.
The Jim Lee X-Men #1.
Jim Lee, Chris Claremont with the blue and gold teams.
Right.
That
I bought that.
I have all those issues. I have X-Men. I have all of that stuff. So this franchise, to me, if you think the Avengers are big, wait till Kevin Feige gets a hold of the X-Men and Fantastic Four, and he gets the entire Marvel franchise to play with.
Hey,
that is the best thing about this movie. It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
If you can't wait for the X-Men and the Fantastic Four to get back in the MCU, pick up a shameless plug. Pick up Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Nintendo Switch, because all those people are going to be in it. So
also, go back and watch the old 90s X-Men cartoons. Those
oh, man.
I mean,
every Saturday, we're killing. Yes!
The people look like the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, they changed a lot of people, but guess what? It worked. There was no reason.
You know what?
And keep in mind, they did the Dark Phoenix saga.
I was just about to say the same thing.
They did it better
for like 5 episodes. They did a better version of the Dark Phoenix saga in 5 episodes. Fox did it twice and didn't get it right.
I just thought about it. They did it twice and didn't get it right. Hell, the Umbrella Academy did the Dark Phoenix saga better than Fox did.
They did.
You know what? We got to end this because we're ragging now. We're just kicking a dead man. It's like, oh man. Hell, Buffy the Vampire Slayer did a better Dark Phoenix saga with Willow.
All right, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe here. Now we're just thinking, because we'll change the scores.
Now we're just bashing the X-Men.
Yeah. Find us here on Twitter. Nope, where we at? We're on Twitter. Find us here on YouTube. Also Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WOTX.com. We out.
I think Rick and Morty did a Dark Phoenix.